Hello, YouTube. It's me and Cortez, the stranger one again, coming with another reaction. Um, this person is criticizing Brett Cooper. I don't agree with every view that she has, but I give her damn strength talking about shit that most people are talking about. You know what I mean? People are going to get mad how people express certain ideas or how they can create their own background. Right now, I'm in my house. I don't have a fancy uh, movie set and everything like that. No, I don't. I'm just doing it on my phone. So, this is me.
On November 27th, 2023, Merriam-Webster declared that their word of the year was authentic. If you're like most people, you probably read that headline and went, huh, and then moved on with your life. 2023 wasn't just the year for authentic, it was also the year for the new right-wing darling, Brett Cooper. During that year, she saw.
Why do she have to be in any political camp? Yes, she has her own talking points that lines up with a political camp, but at the end of the day, just because your thoughts lines up or you say that you're in that camp doesn't make your words less credible.
Her channel rise enormously, and currently the comment section with Brett Cooper now has over 4 million subscribers, and she's one of the most prominent voices on the conservative media company, The Daily Wire. For those that love her, she's the bright-eyed, clever.
Yeah, because she worked hard. At the end of the day, this woman worked hard to speak her own message and to have her own voice in media when it comes down to share her own opinions with other people.
Who was giving a youthful face to conservative commentary, and her detractors would describe her as a phony cutout regurgitating propaganda while gaming social media. I wanted to dig a little deeper than either of those readings, though, and understand her not just through the videos she creates, but the context she exists in and how it reflects our own desire for authenticity. Although she was born in Bellingham, Washington, Brett Cooper was raised in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Her upbringing included a mix of homeschooling and public education, and she emancipated herself at 15 to avoid being caught in the middle of her parents' divorce. She describes her upbringing as being focused on values, leading to her conservative political position in the present. Those values, particularly from her objectivist mother, with whom she is very close, were directly influenced by Ayn Rand.
But I was not raised in a political household by any means. My mom is a student of objectivism. She adopted Ayn Rand's cat after she died.
I couldn't find a record of the cat's name, but I hope it was called Feel Ayn Rand. Although it's been speculated that she was indoctrinated by her mother, Brett Cooper pushes back on that idea.
I've had people say, like, your mother indoctrinated you. And I was like, well, what would you say would be indoctrination? Like, I was not, being told about political policies or anything like that. She just raised me as any good parent would, with the values that she believed were important.
This is a fair point and an important step to understanding how Cooper ended up where she did. A child having the same politics as their parent is not necessarily a product of brainwashing and is likely just.
I agree with him and her. I mean, people are too quick to say just because you think a certain way when it comes to your own parents or your own upbringing that you are brainwashed or you can't have any different opinions. I was growing up with Christians and religious teachings towards me, but I'm not religious. Do I believe it could be a God out there? Yes. Do I believe that God does miraculous things? Maybe he does. Or maybe she does. I'm not sure. At the end of the day, I'm just a human being living on this earth, and I do not have the knowledge of a God interfering with mankind's daily task of living. I don't have that information.
Product of growing up in the same household. It's much easier to just say that Brett Cooper's politics were shaped by her upbringing, and having a close relationship with an objectivist mother obviously would inform her views in the future. At a young age, Brett Cooper took an interest in acting and eventually found enough success that she moved to Los Angeles. Perhaps her most notable role was in the 2018 series Heathers, based on the movie of the same name. It ran for a single season, and Cooper explains its cancellation as a result of heavy edits made in response to a recent school shooting.
And because there's gun violence in Heathers, they scrapped it and basically recut the entire TV show, took out a lot of the offensive parts, and then aired it. And then Paramount said, "You're not doing another season. This was too politically incorrect."
While working in Los Angeles, Cooper started moving away from acting towards the production side of the entertainment industry. She explains that at the time she felt she had little control of her life as an actor and wanted to make some kind of change but still be involved in creating entertainment. While on the production side, though, she became increasingly disenchanted. She started to feel a rising sense of politics in the industry and that her own values were not being represented.
And then during BLM and COVID, the entire industry just became so political.
She's not lying. When it came to COVID, when it came to black people fighting for injustice and still is fighting for injustice, I'm a African male, so for me, I'm always going to be for the camp of, fighting for rights and saying when people are doing wrong to another person, no matter their own culture, their own religion. Wrong is wrong in my eyes. And so I don't understand what he's getting at when he says this statement in this video.
And my job became less about find good stories and more about, could you find a Native American story for us? Could you find a black story for us? Like, rather than just reading scripts for the value in them, it was like, we need something that is like politically woke. We need to be on the cusp of this. And I understood it because that is what was making money at the time. Yeah. That's what people wanted. And there was a lot of pressure.
She is right. At that time, when it was panic in society, a lot of times the things that would get the easy clickbait or the easy likes was grouping together or sharing stories of a black man getting shot or a black man getting harmed by a cop that was white or a woman getting her purse snatched and stuff like that. It's always been happening, but it's only been recent that these stories sell when it comes to media because everybody wants to be a bleeding heart, but a lot of times they don't want to dig into the problem to solve the problem. They just want to serve lip service to the issue, to act like they're allies, but never show up when it does matter.
I was like, okay, now I don't like this. Like, that doesn't feel authentic to me.
That's an interesting use of the term authentic, and it speaks to how her values shape her career trajectory. During the 2020 COVID lockdowns, Cooper started making social media videos for PragerU and Young Americans for Liberty, perhaps feeling that this was a more authentic expression of her values. She was eventually contacted by the Daily Wire, saw her as a good fit for a project they were developing. What would eventually be called the comments section with Brett Cooper was not Cooper's idea originally, but rather came from young people within the Daily Wire.
It was all people my age. They were sitting in the Daily Wire offices saying, we need content for us.
Brett Cooper was discovered by Daily Wire staffer Gracie Blount Crook.
I spent like 3 weeks scouring the internet for like young, cute girls who could like be the host of the show or whatever. And I found you.
Okay.
And I remember very distinctly slacking Kobe and saying, BC is my girl. Like, we have to go with her or whatever.
Crook also designed the set with the help of her mother, and according to Cooper, it cost a few $1,000s to put together. This YouTube channel's videos would be shot with a 3-camera setup, and we see Brett Cooper make use of that throughout many of her videos. The first video to the comments section was uploaded on March 1st, 2022.
Okay, so we all do it. We stay up way later than we should, laying in bed, scrolling on Instagram and TikTok, trying to find content that is not angry leftists having a meltdown.
I'm not sure what her exact resources were when she debuted, but in a September 2022 video, we were introduced to Brett Cooper's team, which consists of 5 different people providing support. Since this video was in 2022, and according to the LinkedIn pages of the people mentioned, at least one of them doesn't work at the Daily Wire anymore, it's hard to know what the status of this team is today. She does still have a team, though, and at the very least, there's this guy named Jared who seems to be with her as of February.
Yes, she has a team. If I was really getting big on YouTube and stuff like that, when it comes down to electronics, when it comes down to lighting, when it comes down to making a video like this, and having it properly scripted in a way to show my opinions. I want a team. Yeah, hell yeah. I want a team to, you know, have a certain theme. That theme is very nice. And a lot of times people be like, well, that's just selling a product. Well, when you go to work and you show your skills or you do your daily tasks at your job, you're selling a skill. You're selling yourself. What's the difference? I don't understand what's the big hoo ha about it. At the end of the day, yes, she is doing a job. At the end of the day, she is selling a opinion, but she's not selling an opinion that she doesn't agree with. Like at the end of the day, I can disagree with the selling points or the talking points in the conversation, but let's be honest about the talking points. Don't be coming up here and making a video and acting like this girl doesn't believe anything that she says, and I'm just going. I'm going to discredit her because I don't like her.
2024, we saw him during a live stream when she had to call for some tech support.
Jared's coming to save the day because he has.
Hey everybody. God.
Because he has the login information.
According to Brett Cooper, she writes all her videos with her team handling video editing and social media posting. Brett Cooper's start on YouTube was unlike most other video creators on here. She had a team working with her, financial resources to build a set, and access to an existing audience on the Daily Wire. This isn't to say Cooper is a puppet, but rather was set up with an enormous amount of resources behind her, all to cultivate a brand around her videos.
People that are critical of the show or whatever will say, like, oh, this must be a top-down show. Like, you're told what to say. You're just an arm of, Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring. But it's not the case at all. Like, I have total, veto power over, my show. I write the segments. I put it together. I have a very different brand than the other hosts.
The unique brand she has is where the performance comes in. It's not so much that she doesn't believe.
Hold up, guys. He's really talking about a really good point, but my phone's about to die, so I'm gonna have to flip it over. I'm gonna have to move my little thing. Hold up, guys. Thank you. Don't worry about that, guys. That shit happens all the time.
Anything she says, but rather the way in which it's presented creates a manufactured authenticity. The look of the show carefully mimics the standard video vlogger or live streamer setup, as if we're visiting a friend in their private space to have a friendly chat about a topic. It's a style that countless other faces on YouTube and Twitch have cultivated and imitated for years. It's something audiences associate with an authentic person on the other end sharing their opinion.
Why is that bad? Like, why is that bad? I don't understand why is that bad. Like, are you there for the background scenes or are you there for just listening to a person? Like, for me, I don't care about the background. Like, the background can be dope. I can love it. But there's a lot of streamers that I listen to when it comes to them expressing an opinion that I listen to that I don't care about the background or where they're at. I care about their own talking point.
It's about pretty much everything. Brett Cooper's headphones and giant microphone create the impression of a streamer in her bedroom. All of this is to create the feeling of someone who doesn't exist in the typical studio setup of most other commentators. Although
if you think that most people have a setup of a laptop and then a radio mic or a disc jockey mic, because that was back in the day, when people was doing radio. They got that big ass mic and they just have that in their room, then you're stupid. I'm sorry. I don't understand how people don't understand, like, at the end of the day, I can sell my points. I can talk right now into this camera. But how many people are going to watch it? Probably not a lot. I'm just doing this because I enjoy it. That's it.
In this case, she does, and this is all just cosplay. These are produced segments filmed on a set by someone hired to fill a role. It's the performance of an authentic experience. A big part of Brett Cooper's success early on was her use of YouTube Shorts. She very quickly racked up millions of views, and her most successful short has a staggering 40 million views.
And you mad because she knew how to play the game? Like, this is what I don't understand. Just say it. You don't like that she played the game more skillfully than other people at that time. She learned how to play the game, so she played it.
In addition to adopting that relatively new format on YouTube, she also commented on trending topics on social media, something that's still a standard in how she operates. So let's look at some of her more recent videos. One of the major topics she touches on is gender politics, often discussing dating and how young adults find their way in the world. Typically, she uses these stories to deliver a message of reverting to traditional gender norms or pushing other conservative talking points regarding sex and gender. In the video, Bumble...
She's saying the truth. Like, I just don't understand why people say gender norms or sex norms. Okay, at the end of the day, I'm a man. I want some titties. I want a woman to cook me some food. I want a woman to be pleasant, to rub my back, to be the helpmate that sometimes when it comes to doing tasks in life that I can't do, that she will be respectful and let me lead at times, but also be my best friend to pick up the slack at times, even though, yeah, I can be an asshole and I can be a person to not realize the baggage that's on her shoulders. But at the same time, if I'm doing all of that, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to try to lessen the load that she has to do in our life. It doesn't mean that I want to come home and just because, I work 50 hours, that when I come in and the house is not clean or it's not sparkling like a Disney, like a Disney movie, I'm not going to be like, babe, you're an asshole. You didn't clean up the house. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. No, I'm going to be like, okay, my task got a little bit more filter. You know what I mean? I got to come home, yes, and it's a pain that I got to clean up a dish or I got to make this neat, in my counter when it comes to my kitchen or something like that. Maybe that is aggravating to me, but at the end of the day, it's my girl is trying to do the best she can do by cleaning up the house, making sure I'm fed, cook me a good meal. I can cook her a good meal after she gets out of work or something like that. That's fine. But denying that females expect certain things from males when female is in love with a man, like, this is the thing that I don't understand with this society nowadays. It's bad to say that I expect something, but I want to communicate that. But if I do communicate that, then I'm sexist. Then I'm not honoring a woman choosing to be in a relationship with me. And you can't have it both ways. You can't. If we both choose to be in a relationship with each other, then we got to talk about the expectations. Now, people are right that some men need to understand what expectations they're trying to negotiate with a woman and really have a conversation, but don't act like females and males don't have expectations. That's all I'm saying. Don't act like that. It's stupid.
Understand women, she's reacting to the dating app, adding an optional feature that lets women use a pre-written opening message instead of having to write an original one for each match. One way in which Brett Cooper differs from other hosts at the Daily Wire is that she's often willing to speak with some kindness towards the people she's critiquing, at least some of the time. But these moments are brief and subservient to the less thoughtful right-wing talking points she often uses instead.
Like, if you actually wanted to rebrand and make the app better, you should let people on the app filter things like religion and politics for free, because according to your comment section, that is the number one thing that people want. Apparently, there are multiple pay levels, and you have to pay a premium every month if you even want to see what somebody's religion is and filter based on that, which is absurd.
That's all well and good, but it's also only in the final minute of the video. Before that, it was 8 minutes.
What do it matter? The point is still delivered. Like, I don't get it. Like, people complain about people not sharing their opinions, but when they do, oh, it's too long. It's too. It's too much explained. Like, just get to the point. So we're going to make females like males when it comes to their conversation or how they express their language or how they express their feelings. And it's stupid. It's saying that you have to deliver a message in a certain way for me to hear it. And yes, that's okay when you're watching YouTube or you want to be listening to something, but don't slander someone's opinion just because it's too long for you.
Stuff like this.
Like, this is so classic. They are reverting to traditional norms, as we always do, but they can't say that, of course. They have to pretend like this is revolutionary so that they can keep going with their feminist nonsense.
Here's another example, this time from the video. Women believe bears are safer than men. This is responding to a social media trend where women expressed how they've been so traumatized by sexual assault that they would feel safer with a bear than a strange man. It was meant to illustrate a very real fear experienced by women, and Brett Cooper comes very close to addressing that point in the video.
Yes, she did. Okay, we can understand. I can understand as a man being raped as a child. I can understand fear. I can understand fear, but at the same time, just because you have a fear, that doesn't give you a license to discriminate or hate another person for no reason. If I go around and I say I hate females for this or that, and I have said it, I admit it, but at the same time, it's not about hate. It's dislike about certain actions that I see that people are constantly repeating. And just because I have that thought, if I act on it and then I starve someone or I hit someone just because they're a female or I treat them lesser, do that make me a better person? Because that's what Martin Luther King taught, that just because you can assume or judge someone by their religion, about their sex, about their skin color, about their culture, any of those is a weak statement to judge another person because you don't know another person's life. You don't know another person's lessons in life to build them as a person. So if you're doing all the judging, then you don't know how you can be knowing what you don't know about another person.
Violence is sadly very prevalent in our society, and it's heartbreaking to see that so many women genuinely believe that a bear would be safer.
Coming in only halfway through the video, this would seem to set it up for a very interesting and nuanced conversation about how women express their discomfort, and perhaps how men can do a better job of picking up on that. But instead we get,
when humans have been
No, we can't. I disagree with that. You deal with your own trauma. I can't make my trauma my path in life to be treating people a certain way. That is unkind. That is disillusional as a person. It is not kind to treat someone just because you went through trauma poorly or shittily as a person. You can't treat someone with unkindness and then expect someone to respect you. You can't do that. And I'm sorry to say this, but it's true. Just because you went through rape as a woman doesn't mean you have a right to disrespect, downgrade, or belittle another person just because they have a dick.
what species should prevail on Earth, they don't even say their own kind.
Instead of discussing the traumatic impact of sexual violence and how it was highlighted by this trend on social media,
No, it wasn't highlighted. It really wasn't. It was highlighted that people are, especially females, and there was some males, but people are not dealing with tragedy in a safe and healthy way. They are not moving past their trauma, especially females. They are not moving past their trauma to recognize that not every man is going to treat them that same way. Just because a man chose and he was that wrong to abuse and rape a woman doesn't mean the next man would. So if I was thinking on that same logic, just because a Puerto Rican man raped me as a child, so I should treat all Puerto Ricans shitty. I should treat all Puerto Rican men as though they was a threat to me. So what are you going to say then? You want to say it's not fair? Well, I say it's not fair for females to use their fear to downgrade another human being. We all live in this earth. We all are trying to do our best when it comes to having decency, to have kindness towards another person. We all are trying to do our best. Just because we can highlight some wrong things that other people do to us doesn't mean that we have a right to harm another person in the same way that we was harmed by another person.
This video is actually about how people are too anti-human.
You can care for the earth that feeds us and keeps us alive and breathing and healthy without hating yourself and calling for your own extinction.
I think women just want men to stop sexually assaulting them. How did we end up talking about
Men are. What are you talking about? There's a lot of men that are lonely, a lot of men that's not getting sex, a lot of men that's not entertaining a relationship with a woman.
people leading humanity to self-extinction? There's a web of talking points connecting these narratives together, but the leaps in logic she makes creates commentary that isn't informative. It's just a jumbled mess. It's very hard to understand what people are getting from these videos sometimes, but when you read the comments under them, a message is getting through. And in this one video about women and bears, we can see an overriding message about how women, or Generation Z, just aren't that bright. Here are some examples of highly upvoted comments under this video. I can't bear the stupidity of this generation anymore. The same women who say they're safe around bears will run to the safety of a man as soon as an actual bear shows up. If a lady wants to pick a bear to hang out with in the forest over a man, I don't see the issue. She wants to go out in a very unique, terrifying, and excruciatingly painful way and feed the wildlife in the process. Unless it's a bear cub, but the mama bear is probably nearby, so you're probably checking out either way. Oh well, do what you do, boo. Brett Cooper's video.
Is that wrong? Is that wrong? If you want to downgrade another part of a human species or another culture, what is wrong with that? Because black people had to go through that with white people a lot of times. Latino people had to go through that with other cultures. So what is wrong with that? Highlighting the stupidity of these females. What's wrong with that? Because it's stupidity. Just because you've been raped doesn't mean that everyone is going to rape you.
Process. Unless it's a bear cub, but the mama bear is probably nearby, so you're probably checking out either way. Oh well, do what you do, boo. Brett Cooper's videos are often designed to badmouth people in her gender and her generation. That's kind of the point of her commentary. Although she doesn't go as hard as some other commentators, it's very much a running theme, and is very consistent with a lot of messaging in the conservative space. In that sense, she is advocating for her ideals in that it lines up with a very specific conservative worldview, apparently unaware or willing to ignore that those ideals happen to dump all over women and Generation Z, often on spurious terms. And since she's joining in on that kind of mockery, she can safely consider herself one of the good ones, even if it means selling out other women and girls who are just like her. The video that best encapsulates what I mean is they took the boy out of Boy Scouts, where we see Brett Cooper upset that the Boy Scouts of America are changing their name to Scouting America.
When I was a kid, I desperately...
Why is that a wrong point to say? Because every time I heard about the Boy Scouts, yeah, I want to be in the Boy Scouts and shit like that. That sounds fun. But I lived in the hood, so I was surviving. You know, at 15, I got into drugs and stuff like that. So I wasn't really aiming for that. So for me, it doesn't make sense to call a purpose that was for men to learn survival, to learn how to work with each other, learn how to cooperate with each other, learn life skills, learn survival skills, and all of that to change it to Scouts of America. Like, no, this was for boys who learn how to socialize with other boys without using physical combat to solve a problem. It was teaching boys to work together in a survival narrative, in a wooden narrative, to go out into the woods. You didn't have your mama, you didn't have technology, you only had the people that you came with. So you had to learn how to work together.
Wanted to be a Boy Scout. Everything they did sounded so much fun. You know, they would come over the camping trips. I just like desperately wanted to go. But of course, because I was a girl, joining the Boy Scouts was not an option. Obviously, duh. My mom was like, suck it up, babe. There's nothing you can do.
There's something really sad about this. A little girl just like Brett Cooper now has an opportunity that she didn't and desperately wanted, and Cooper seems to think this is a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but she can join the Girl Scouts. Why can't she do that? Because we have to have certain spaces for men, for little boys to grow up to know how to express themselves. And the best way they learn how to express themselves is with the same sex. It's with other men. It's with other boys. That's how boys learn how to socialize, learn how to show respect, learn how to have dignity, learn how to have kindness. A girl is not going to be in an appropriate social setting when it comes to that. I'm sorry. No girl needs to be in the Boy Scouts. She needs to be in the Girl Scouts because Girl Scouts will provide her that social interaction of being on a team and working together with other ladies and other girls. That's all I'm saying. Like, why can we not have Boy Scouts?
This will be a simple but very important evolution as we seek to ensure that everyone feels welcome in scouting. Everyone did feel welcome. That's why this is so ridiculous. There was Boy and Girl Scouts.
Everyone felt welcome, except literally her, who was not allowed to do the cool stuff Boy Scouts did because she was a girl, and the Girl Scouts didn't offer the same activities. It seemed...
Well, instead of inviting, crazy thing, instead of trying to make Boy Scouts including all people, change Girl Scouts activities. Let the girls do some of the fun stuff they saw boys doing. Let the girls go out there and start a fire or build a tent or build something or pick up a log. Let them do that. We are trying to include everybody when everybody don't need to be included. Everybody don't need to be invited to every social event. As a man, yeah, well, I love to be at a lesbian event and, talk my shit and have my opinions heard. Yeah, but at the same time, that's not the event for me. I'm not a female. I am a male. So they do have the right to discriminate against me and say, listen, you might be coming with good intentions and everything like that. You might be coming with good talking points. We'd love to hear you. But at this event right now, you're not allowed to attend it because you're a man. Simple.
Needlessly harsh, telling other little girls to suck it up when the very easy solution of letting girls join the Scouts has existed for several years now. The principle supposedly being argued for here is that boys and girls need spaces exclusive to one another.
Male camaraderie and community is vital. They need to play together. They need to learn together. They need to fight together. They need to push themselves away from girls. Just like girls need spaces to grow together away from men. That is important.
This supposed principle really just boils down to administering strict gender roles into...
No, it's recognize how men and how females problem solve, and how females tend to be the more person in a group that needs that encouragement to be more vocal, to learn how to stick up for herself, to learn how to work with other people. Just like males need to learn how sometimes you don't need to say everything that you want to say to another person. You don't need to be the bully in the room. You don't need to be the asshole that everyone wants to go at. That's gonna make the problem more big. You're not going to get anything done if you're sitting over there fighting with each other. You learn how to disagree with people. You learn how to walk away from an argument without trying to yell at each other to prove a point. And that's what males need to learn. Females need to learn confidence. They need to learn that they can be their own self, that they can be a person to be different, and a person that could be not the normative person in the group. And learn how to work in a group, learn how to problem solve with someone that's thinking different than you. This what this is why we have Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, because it's a totally different circumstances of a person living as a man than living as a woman. I have a totally different social reality from a woman. A woman's not going to relate to me. So for me, if I had a little boy, I wouldn't put him in the Scouts. I put him in the Boy Scouts because I want my little boy to know how to be a proper man around other people. Learn how to use their strength, or use his strength towards someone else's benefit, instead of trying to be the cocky one in the group, trying to put down other people. Just because you're strong, you can be weak also. And having kindness goes a long way when it comes to completing a task.
Children. Camping, jamborees, paddling, and other outdoor activities aren't inherently gendered, but presenting these as the domain of boys is just a way to exclude girls. Girls like Brett Cooper. When getting into a bit of the history of the Boy Scouts, this video goes in a very weird direction though, when we see Brett Cooper wax nostalgically about what appears to be the introduction to the first Boy Scouts field guide.
This, it will be seen, is a reproduction of the condition that ended in the fall of Rome. In her days of growth, every man was a soldier. In the end, a few great gladiators were in the arena, to be watched and applauded by the millions who personally knew nothing at all of fighting or heroism. Degeneracy.
Hold on. I gotta use the restroom, guys. Hold on, guys. I gotta use the restroom.